All right, well, welcome to another episode in the Run Breiter Podcast. This is episode number 16. Really excited to say we're doing an in-person episode here today. And we have John Murray on, a.k.a. JmurrayAthletics. Is that the name of your page?
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me, man. This has been a long time coming. We planned this a few months out.
Yeah.
A few missed opportunities, so.
It's pretty crazy that we've been able to make this happen. You know, obviously you don't even live in New York City. No. You're in upstate New York, right?
Yep. Schenectady, New York.
Awesome.
The city that lights the world.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, where you're living now. Love to learn about it, John.
All right, so I grew up in Schenectady. I'm born and raised. I grew up actually in a domestic abusive situation as a child, so that's really what got me into the whole martial arts thing, and from that progressively grew into the whole brand and where I am now. But Schenectady has always just been a home. I can't tell you how many people and faces that come to mind when I think of that town.
Yeah. So where exactly geographically is it? Is it pretty close to Albany, right?
We're about 15 minutes off I-90 from Albany. We're about 30 minutes south of Saratoga, and we're right on the crack of Western New York, where everything just starts becoming the nasty Rust Belt. I went out to Rome, New York. You ever been out that way, man?
I haven't been there. No.
Rome, New York is it's abandoned building church, abandoned building church, abandoned building church. It's kind of like Gary, Indiana, but without the burnt abandoned building. You know what I mean? So there's really nothing there. My boy Tony has been doing a lot of stuff in the grappling scene. He's been blowing up. He's from out there, so all he has to do is train. I mean, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. No, I hear ya. And I'm sorry to hear about the domestic abuse situation you came from. I think, though, certain people who come from a little bit of a harder background, boy, that's that New York City noise, we love it. People who come from a harder background normally are people who, in turn, can sometimes really use it as a way to drive them towards really reaching a lot of awesome milestones in life. Being a harder worker, being involved in sport is really a great way to overcome that. So I'd be really curious. So that correlated to you wanting to get into fighting, is that correct?
Yeah, at a certain point in your life, you kind of get tired of getting pushed around by people. So I made a conscious choice to actually learn to fight. I was like, if I feel like I can fight someone, even if I don't fight you, it gives you the confidence to handle situations better than you would normally. Like, I'm sure you've had a bum or something here in New York City confront you at some point in your life. And, maybe you weren't sure how to react in the situation. Me and my girlfriend came down here, one of the first times I took her down here, and I had one of them get in our face, and he kept getting too close to her. He wasn't being aggressive, but he was being too nice. Do you know what I mean? Do you know there's that level, like you don't get in someone's personal space? Mm-hmm. So I kind of inserted my arm nicely in, and I kind of gently guided him back. But she says he ended up swinging on me. I remember him rambling and shit. That gives you like a almost like a calm like demeanor when these kind of situations are flying off. When everyone else, when people around you are losing it, you have a sense of calm because you're used to a little bit of that chaos.
Yeah. No, I hear ya. So, go ahead.
I mean, and that even goes back to like that domestic, because PTSD. I have the ADHD too, so like you'll see me go.
You and me both, my friend.
All over the place.
Yeah.
So like that whole martial arts thing. I mean, especially jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is weird because when you have another dude, like boxing and jiu-jitsu, you have a dude trying to physically hurt you. I mean, maybe they're not trying to go all the way, but like you have to focus. It's not like we're running where I can just go, okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I don't have to run anymore. I'm good. When you're in grappling or boxing, you have someone in your face. You have to think, and if you don't think, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've never been involved in competitive fighting, but I think it's really inspiring, and it's something that I find interesting. I think there's special people are really involved in it, people with a lot of wisdom and knowledge.
You should definitely try jiu-jitsu.
I would. I'm not closing the door on it. Definitely have some big running goals right now, but I think, down the line it's something I'm not against getting into. I guess for someone who might be listening, or even someone like me who's never gotten into it, what advice would you have for beginners in the fighting game, for jiu-jitsu, things like that?
If you want to do something, it doesn't matter what it is, just get up and do it. I have friends who talk about doing things, and I talk about doing so much shit, but and I won't do half of it, but at least I'm doing 1% of it. If you do 1% of the things you talk about doing, you will be successful. It's about getting up and doing things, and you got up and you started doing your podcast, man.
Yeah.
I think I ran into you when how many followers did you have on YouTube at the time? 20 or something?
Probably something like that.
You're trickling up there. I'm trickling up there, but it's about getting up and doing that.
Yeah.
And if you don't get up and do shit, I mean, you're not going to go anywhere in life. Everyone thinks things are just going to drop in your lap. I mean, they will if you're good to people. Maybe you'll be, say, extra good to someone. Someone down the line becomes successful and drops it in your lap if you're lucky. But, I mean, shit, that's a shot in the dark, ain't it?
It is. You can't. It's something I've learned through my life, and I think it's pretty obvious, is you can't rely on anyone else to give you a path to success. You have to get up. You got to do it. You got to come up with your own ideas, and whether you do all the ideas or not, I really like what you're saying about do at least 1% of the things that you seek out to do. Try some different things out, see what you like, see what you're passionate about, see what you find fulfillment with, and that's, I think, a really great way to find success.
For sure. I mean, that's how I found running. That's how I found jiu-jitsu. I was doing, I was in college when I started running. I just started going one lap around the college campus,
So college was when you first got into running?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It was just something, I was going to the gym. It was all right, I need cardio now. Let's go do cardio. Oh, I like cardio. Who would have thought? All right, let's do more cardio, So, then you're in the gym, and then you go for a run, and then next thing you know, you're signing up for a race.
Yeah.
I kid you not, I took second in, I think, my first race ever.
Oh, really?
And I was neck and neck with this guy for the first place. It was the Scottish Games up in Altamont Fairgrounds up in upstate. And neck and neck with this guy the whole way. And then halfway through, I'm like, shit, I'm not going to make this. So I was like, all right, I'm going to draw back. I can take second. I can deal with second. I don't need to be first. I don't need to be number one. This is my first race. Second's perfect. I let him go. He disappears. I'm still so far ahead of other people behind me. I'm like, okay, I'm golden. And then I finish, and I was it felt so freaking good. But I won that. I didn't do any real training for that. I didn't really do anything big for that. I just got up one morning. I was like, I'm gonna run this race this year, and I got up and I did that.
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think what would be really great to know about is, obviously, it sounds like you started getting into running in college. You were just putting in some cardio. You realized you really liked it, and then obviously you started getting into competitive running. From that race, it was the Scottish Games, you said?
Yeah, the Scottish Games. Actually coming up this Labor Day.
Oh, really? Yep. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that race, but that's interesting.
They canceled it, actually.
Oh, they canceled it?
Yeah, it was actually, I think, the last year they did it.
Oh, really?
And then they took off all the records, so I gotta actually see if I can find those still.
So is it a 5K, or is it a variety of different races?
Yeah, it was a 5K.
5K. Gotcha.
It wasn't too big. They had a kilted division, and then they had a regular division, so you could run in a kilt. And I had planned on doing the kilted division one year with my Scottish, clan and everything. Mm-hmm. But no, that never came to fruition. I was very disappointed.
Gotcha.
I was thinking about maybe trying my hand at the caber toss.
That's funny. So now, though, I noticed you are doing some different races. You come here every couple months, it seems like, in New York City for some road runner races. I don't know how many other races you're fully doing.
I come down here for the races, man. The 9+1, as you know about, for the marathon.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu, I came down here for a couple tournaments. I want to come back for a few more. They have an amazing team, 10th Planet, that I've been training with. And I plan on actually coming back during the weekdays every so often and do some privates with this guy, Jabim. So I think a Bellator fighter, so it's I need to get my hand in that too,
Yeah. No, for sure.
Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no.
That ADHD flying off.
You're good. I mean, I think the hybrid athlete lifestyle you're living is really cool. For me, I mean, I run, I lift, but I mean, I think having another competitive sport in there that you're part of is really great. But I'm curious too, with the running. So obviously you're doing 9+1. You want to get into 2023's New York City Marathon?
Yeah, I just want to do the marathon again.
You've done it before?
I did it in 2018.
Oh, wow.
And I did the 9+1 before too. So this is my second 9+1. This is going to be my second marathon.
Nice.
But my goal this time was to do it right. The first time I did it, I said I was going to do all these things. I was supposed to go to these gyms and, do all these things, and I only did the 1%.
Yeah.
So now I'm going back and doing the 2%. No, I want to do the marathon again, and then I want to do the majors. So I want to get to Tokyo, I want to get to London, I want to get to Berlin. I know you want to too. I was listening to your sub 3 hour. I think I actually pulled in a 3:30 something, 4 hour on my last one.
Nice.
But my half marathon was a 1:30 during that.
Okay.
And then that was the moment I realized I messed up. So like my PR previous to the marathon was 1:40. So when you're moving in a marathon, you don't want to like overdo yourself in the first half, right?
Yeah.
That's what I did.
That's what kind of happened to me on this past race. I mean, I ended up finishing at 3 hours and 13 minutes. My first half, though, I almost PR'd in the half marathon. My best half marathon going into it was an hour and 27. I ran an hour and 27 and change. And then by mile 16, I was like not holding my 6:50 pace that I needed. And I ended up finishing at 3:13, which was a PR, 6-minute PR for myself. But I obviously wasn't sub an hour 30 on that second half. So you got to really be strategic with that race.
I mean, and New York's a beast. New York's different because like you have all the different boroughs and the layout of each. So like right when you think the downhills are over, like you have this random like wave, and it's like out of nowhere too, just because of the like, it's the way the city's built, you know. I mean, thank God it's not San Francisco though.
Yeah. No, that's like one of the more hilly ones I've heard.
Yeah.
So you've only, I mean, I guess it's not only, it's impressive to do a marathon at all, but the only marathon you've done is the New York City one back in 2018, or have you done other marathons since? I know you have some goals of doing the world major ones, but
I haven't done one since.
Okay.
I think, yeah, because I had started, okay, so after 2018, I had finished the marathon. I think, what was going on? Hold on, I'm trying to recall now, because it's been a minute. But I wanted to, I restarted the 9+1 in like 2020. And I had actually come down here for a race, I think the Al Gordon, when COVID hit. And I came back to Schenectady with COVID. I pretty much passed it around the gym and shit.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was at the time. No one knew what COVID was.
Yeah.
So I went to urgent care, and they're like, they didn't even give me Tamiflu. They're letting me die in there, and I was like,
So you got it pretty bad.
It's like I'm like a full-on athlete, and this is early COVID when no one had immunity. So like I was like in bed just like the whole freaking time. So I had to cancel that because I mean the whole city went on lockdown.
Yeah.
You guys were locked down harder than Beijing.
Yeah.
So I threw that one, and that's why I haven't done another marathon since. I wanted to do New York right before I start going out elsewhere. But I was looking at Bar Harbor. That's one I really want to do.
Really? I don't know too much about that one. What?
So they have one that goes around Astoria, the national park.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm a huge Fallout fan, so like
gaming
nerd. Bar Harbor, it was a Far Harbor. So that would be a really cool race for me because you get to go run around the game map.
That would be
doing
cool.
A race.
Yeah. Very nice. So that's exciting, though, that you got some different marathons down the line that you're thinking of. Are there any of the races that you're doing with, the road runners or outside organizations that you do in your area that you have like more of a passion for, like a 5K, 10K, or for you is it not really? Does the distance not really matter? It's more just getting out there, running, enjoying the process.
Previous to 2020, so 2020 put me into a little bit of a slump of depression. It's funny.
Everyone, I think, had some level
It's
of that,
weird.
Right?
I had the best time traveling. I had the best views on the website, the best views on everything. But it was a weird time where, like, I lost, like, the gym that I was working at was the place that I really loved working. It was the Schenectady YMCA. And the association as a whole did me dirty after they furloughed me and then rehired me, and they put me with a terrible person who I won't get into. But when I lost that job, it was weird. It was like losing a piece of me. I lost a piece of my family and everything. So that kind of put me on like a downward spiral that I was picking myself up from in 2021. And yeah, like I said, it's like I want to get to these marathons, but it was like a building process where I have to get back to where I was. Mm-hmm. I was doing phenomenal. I was like moving at a 6:30 pace on some races. Like I was really excelling. And then I just threw it all away. I was like, screw this.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I mean, I think one of the top ways people are motivated to run is by the race experiences, right? The community feel of it, the competition, the achievements that come, and then when you're not able to get out there and do that, it's hard to, if that's a motivator for you, right? It's hard to continue doing it. So glad to hear, though, now you obviously have bounced back from that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And you're kind of all in with it, right? I mean, it
yeah.
seems like you're doing a lot with it.
What year? 2022. We're in 2022. Shit, man. It's, the whole year's been wild. So I've done 2 Rolling Stoners tournaments. I've done, I went out to Boston early in the year for a Grappling Industries. I believe I did Saratoga Grappling Industries this year. I want to say I did a Naga, but I'm not sure. Either Naga's coming up, or I've already done it, or I'm going to do another one. I have no idea. You know, I've done so much at this point. Like, what did I even do for races? I know I did the Joe K 10K, the first race of the year in New York, frozen as hell. You know, you're going out there in 0-degree weather. Did you do that one?
I may have. I've done probably 5 or 6 Roadrunner races this year. I don't have the names memorized as well as you did. I did do a 10K, though.
So I did the Joe K, the Manhattan 10K, the Al Gordon, of course. Got to do the Al Gordon. Yeah, just weird. Joe K, 10K, and the Al Gordon I've done at least 3-4 times at this point. And I know the course, I know the area, I know how to get there. And I don't even live in the city. It's like, all right, let's go to the list.
Yeah. That's good.
What else did I do? We were doing Gret's Great Gallop. Jeez, that one is a tongue twister. Have you tried saying that one?
Gret's Great Gallop. It is a little bit of a tongue twister.
Every time I trip over it. We're doing that this weekend, tomorrow. Jeez. Damn. Dude, I've been working all week, so like...
Yeah, man. How do you... So, I know obviously you're really involved with a lot of fitness. What's your... Do you, like, outside of fitness, what do you do for your full-time work?
I actually work part-time. I do Grubhub on the side. I work as a pizza cook, and then I work as a prep cook and bartender over at Ambition, which I will actually plug because my boss actually gave me mad money to get down here this week.
That's nice.
I wouldn't be able to be here right now if it wasn't for him. Half the people who support me, I mean, dude, shit. Like I said earlier, you know, when you give to other people, you get back. You know, if it was not for the amount that I tried to give to other people, I don't think I would be able to be here right now.
That's awesome.
And I don't give with that expectation. It's just I believe in the law of attraction. You attract what you give. So if you give off, you know, you help people. Help where you can. You know, if someone's moving off, or, you know, if someone needs anything, you know, within the length of your cable toe, do what you can for others, and eventually people will do the same for you. You know. And that's what happened, and that's what got me here this weekend, man.
That's great, yeah. And I mean, obviously, you know, I think what you're talking about, giving to others with no expectation, I think typically leads to, one, just a lot of happiness and fulfillment, right? I mean, you feel great when you're doing something that's making an impact on someone else. But with the law of attraction, I've noticed that too. I mean, I feel like the more charitable I am, the more value that I'm showing, the more selfless I am, good things just tend to happen. And I think having that mindset, if everyone had it...
It's almost weird how they drop into your lap when you act like that. And more than that, I think people, like, I have some friends who struggle with making friends, you know? And one of the things I always try to tell them is this law of attraction, you know? And if they were a little more interested in just giving back, you know, giving out, and a little less interested in finding what people can do for them, they would realize that these things will just start falling into their lap.
Yeah.
People don't want to be around selfish people. You know, when you're selfish, I mean, it's annoying. That's the best way to put it. It's annoying.
People can smell that too. Like you can tell when someone is inherently selfish and they're doing everything for their own personal gain. It's easy to catch, right?
For sure. I think there's almost you can hear it in the way they speak. You know, just in the way they speak. And it's just, you don't want to be around toxic people.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm definitely with you there. But I mean, what I did want to also say is the fact that you're obviously juggling all these part-time jobs, right? You're doing a lot of travel, you're running a lot of different races, you're competing in a lot of different fights. Clearly you have some great time management skill. You also create a lot of content, right? And so I think a lot of people struggle with that, where they have one job and then...
You want to know the secret?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. I am a master procrastinator.
Interesting.
No, seriously, I will procrastinate to hell. If you put a video game in front of me, particularly SWTOR, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. You can ask me any lore question, I'll tell you 100 different answers. But I'll sit there in front of this MMO for hours, and I'll know the time when I started. And I'm like, all right, 30 minutes. It's like, what time did I start? It's like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Girlfriend comes home. She's like, you've been in the basement for hours. What are you doing? So what it comes down to is planning.
Okay.
Real planning. And I approach my day with a plan. And I plan to get as much done as early on in my day as possible. So like...
when do you wake up?
I wake up at 5 in the morning.
Good for you.
4:50 to be exact, because I want those extra 10 minutes to get up, get dressed, and go to the bathroom before my day technically starts.
Wow.
So my day technically starts after I've gone to the restroom in the morning. So I'll dwaddle in there for about half an hour. But no, I have a plan. Like, I know what I want to do that morning. So like, I know I'm running. I know I'm going to the gym. I know I'm working on my legs, my back, or what have you. I know I'm doing jiu-jitsu drills. I know that I'm going to be working on an article. I'm going to be working on a video. The problem is after the morning. So like, if I have work, don't expect me to do shit after work. I ain't going to do shit. And that's a problem, because like, if I work, jiu-jitsu is in the evening. So like, sometimes I have to drag my feet. Come on, let's go. Let's go, John. You know, you have to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to fight that and come up with a plan. If you don't have a plan, you know, think about like when people when countries go to war, they have a plan of attack. You know, they know how they're going to entry. They have an entry plan. They have an exit plan. You know, they have all these different little plans for like the strategies. You have to do the same thing. Have a plan, then have a smaller plan. You know.
Yeah.
Have a backup plan for your plan. And that's how I kind of get the most done. Because if I don't do that shit in the morning, it ain't getting done.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think what you say about planning, I couldn't agree more with it, but I think adding to it is it's also knowing yourself, right? And clearly you know yourself. You know that you're a morning person, but you also know you're a procrastinator, and you know that there's certain things outside of self-growth that you might enjoy. And those things are great, right? I mean, it's good to be able to, you know, check out and do things that allow you to recharge. So when you are involved in the things that you are passionate about and that are building that self-growth, right, you're giving your all with them, right?
You also don't want to throw yourself so much at things either that you burn out. Mm-hmm. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube videos about like making YouTube channels, you know, for YouTube creators.
Yeah,
they talk about burnout a lot, you know, and it's true. Like, you will burn out if you overwork yourself. I mean, this week I burned out, man. I went to work. I was at work yesterday, you know, and I looked at my boss like, dude, I'm fucking tired. You know, I offered to go to the pizza place in the evening so I'd have extra cash for down here, and I was so thankful when they didn't call me. I was like, oh, thank God, I get to actually rest.
Yeah.
So I mean, it be like that sometimes.
Sure does.
So you just don't let yourself burn out, but also don't let yourself get so absorbed in the fun that you forget what's important. Because I love jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu isn't always fun because it can be like work. I love running, but running can be like work because I treat them like work, you know? And so it's good to kind of have that minute to refresh.
For
it's
sure.
like a weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
Just let it be a weekend. Don't let it become a vacation every week.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to have a balance of all that and to plan when you are going to recover from burnout or to avoid a burnout and be proactive about it. One thing I do want to ask you about, though, so you're obviously creating a lot of content. You're across some different platforms. I want to hear the story. What made you start JmurrayAthletics, and what type of content are you creating for anyone who may not have ever seen your page? And then we can talk about some more stuff with it, but I think that's a good place to start with that.
So it's funny you asked this, because yesterday I got home from work and I'm laying down, going to take a nap, and I'm trying to think to myself, you know, what is the actual vision of this whole website and what I'm doing? Because when I started it, I just wanted a place to write about things I was doing. You know, I wanted a way to make some money that would allow me to continue doing these things I love doing. You know, things in life happen where, like, there's wrenches thrown. I don't want a wrench to get thrown in these things because I really love doing them. I love traveling. I love grappling. I love running, you know, and I love, you know, the whole fitness community. So I built JmurrayAthletics out of a passion for what I was doing. I just wanted to share whatever I found. So, like, I find little products. Like, I have a Goku gi, you know, and that's just a cool Goku hat, but the Goku gi, you know, is a jiu-jitsu gi. So, like, there's an article on there, and there's a link so you can find it yourself and get it. I get nothing back on that. I only, you know, only the ad revenue from the page, but, like, I only put maybe 3 ads on a website. I don't bombard people like some of those blogs. I find that overly disgusting. I mean, it's like every paragraph is an ad. You ever seen those guys?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's ridiculous. That's absurd. But I wanted to share. I just wanted to share what I was doing in a way with people who would care, you know. And for the people who don't care, you know, fuck you. You do your thing. You know, anyone who has got, I got some haters and people who throw shade at the website and everything. And it's like, I don't see you doing anything. And that's the big thing, is I just did this because I was already doing it and I wanted to share it. And that's all it was at the end of the day. The YouTube came about because I was like, all right, well, let's show them. I'm talking about it now, let's show them, you know. Let's show you the races I go to. Let's show you what they look like. Let's show you some of the people that are there. Jiu-jitsu, I guess the competitions are more of a narcissistic thing for me. I get more out of that than anyone else. I mean, some people enjoy watching grappling matches, but let's be real, who really enjoys that? No, that's not true. I do enjoy it. But, I mean, there's some, I put on some exercise content. I've been trying to figure out ways for the YouTube to be more valuable to other people. And that's a difficult task for me. I do tend to be a little self-centered sometimes. So, for me, like, trying to think outside the box and what do people need besides myself can be a little difficult. So that's kind of where I'm at with the channel, is trying to figure out how we can grow and how we can help more people.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's the hardest part, right? I mean, I think one thing that you brought up, you feel like a lot of the content is centered around you, but I think there is value in that, right? There's value for yourself in being able to look back at some of the things that you did and remember those experiences for your whole life, right?
Yeah,
I think that's really valuable to yourself. And I think there is a large amount of people out there who do like to watch other people's stories and journeys and can be inspired by that. And there's a lot of successful content creators out there who do that, and you know, it's the value is inspiration, right? Motivation, showing you the way.
Well, it's weird because while it did start around me, I do want to emphasize that I try to focus on moving it away from just being about me. Yeah. Because I mean, let's be real. Like, who wants to just watch something that's about one person? Even the best content creators out there are. Like one of my favorite traveling. You ever watch Bald and Bankrupt?
I actually haven't. No.
All right, he's a great one, but it's just him traveling the world, showing different Soviet things. Soviet. But even he, like, his thing is, while it's him traveling, it's him showing you. He's showing you places that you can't go. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons I did the VR. Is I did realize something. Standard definition videos only show you so much. VR video shows you everything. So when I give a tour or a review of something, like a place, I make sure to bring that VR. Because that VR, that gets you the whole experience, and then you're right alongside me. And now you're not just a viewer, now you're part of the video. And that's what I really want at the end of the day, is I want to find a way to make this as much about other people as it is about me.
Yeah. No, that's definitely, it's a challenge, but I think it's really cool with the VR, and I know you sent me the link to that. I took a look. For anyone who hasn't seen that, talk about that video that you made and kind of where you see VR fitting into your brand moving forward.
All right, so I have a couple different VR videos, including hotel reviews. My grappling videos are all in VR. So, like, you're actually sitting front row and watching my matches. It's not just like, oh, look, he's holding a camera and I only get to see what he shows me. No, you can look around. You don't have to watch me. You can go watch the guy behind me picking his nose, you know?
And how do you set that up, though? Like, what equipment is... Oh, you got it.
I got that, of course. I'm in New York City, man. You thought I was going to leave my VR camera at home?
That's true, because I could learn something from this, and maybe there's people who are listening or watching who create content of their own form, and maybe they're curious on how to utilize VR.
Maybe it's in this one? I have a couple little baggies in here, I'm sorry.
That's all good, man.
Oh, okay. So there's the old one. And here she is.
Okay. So this is a VR camera, pretty much?
Yeah, it's a GoPro Max. It films in a panoramic 360 view. So when I film, it films from both cameras on both sides, and like it shoots everything down, everything up. It'll see if I put it here, it will see the entire thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it won't miss a dot.
How far?
It won't miss a dot.
Oh, wow.
Everything, literally everything. So like that's why I do that, because like if you're in a hotel tour, right, and let's say you're curious, you're really curious. Maybe I missed something. You know, you can turn. You can just look for the watermarks in the ceiling and all that shit. And like, yo, there were probably watermarks there. You know, why didn't he pan up? You know, so you can pan up yourself. You don't gotta wait for me to do it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I figure VR is the next big thing. Audio was supposed to be, you know, pretty big with podcasting and everything. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk was all about that for years. And then, and he's always talking about what's gonna be the next big thing. What's gonna be the next big thing? And I was like, all right, Gary. I'm gonna take a gamble here, Gary. I'm gonna say VR, and I mean I got an Oculus at home. Do you have an Oculus?
I don't, but I've used it, and it's very cool.
All right, so you've used it. I mean, most people are starting to trickle into their homes. So I mean, you can watch my videos in VR with your Oculus headset. I mean,
that's cool.
Who else can offer that?
Yeah.
You know, I was actually thinking about filming the race tomorrow in VR, but I think for this year I'm going to finish off the races in standard definition, and I'm going to find some kind of attachment I can, like, maybe like one of those little hat things, you know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And so if you were to put it on your hat, though, it's obviously able to show further horizontally and further vertically.
Yep.
But it doesn't show you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can it?
So if I put it on, bring out the wand. So let's say I put it on this. I'm not even going to go the whole 9 with this, but let's say I have this, right, and it's actually clipped on the way it's supposed to be. It will show to about, maybe down to here it won't show, but you'll see my hand. You'll see my face. It'll show me. Like, I wish it could make me invisible, because I mean, like, who wants to look at this all day? But
yeah. How much did that setup cost, out of curiosity?
The GoPro itself was $550.
Okay.
It really wasn't that much.
Yeah, not terrible
and that's
compared
why
to some
I was
other
like,
stuff.
When I was looking for like a market on YouTube, and I was like, what's an angle I can take that no one else has done yet? I was like, VR. You know, I was really surprised no one else is doing it. I mean, the editing's the bitch.
Oh, really?
I pay $50 a fucking month for Adobe processing software that I only use for VR cameras.
Interesting.
However, I use the Photoshop editor, which is money back. But man, that almost every month puts me in overdraft.
Yeah, that's the tough part about being in this content space, right? There's a lot of expenses that come at you that you don't really always expect.
Yeah, people think it's cheap.
And so, I mean, I know with your page you mentioned you're still kind of working on figuring out how to share as much value as possible, and I think you will, truthfully, and I think the longer you're a creator, right, it's just trial and error.
Oh, yeah.
You might think something is giving extreme value and it might not give any, and then something else you do that you're thinking, oh, this is probably not giving that much value, actually turns out to give a lot of value, right?
It's weird like that, because I have one video. It's a commentary video. It's just me watching fight videos on Reddit, and I'm just reacting to them. And it flatlined for like a couple weeks, and yesterday it blew up to 200 views in the last 48 hours, and I'm like, wow. Like, where the hell did that come from? That's exactly how it works. Is like sometimes it's like winning and sometimes you're losing.
It's the same thing with me. Like my most popular YouTube video that's consistently getting a nice share of views each day is literally a review video of me reviewing a hat that I wear for running. And I have all these videos where I'm giving all this running advice and showing my training and different things, and a video of a hat review, of all things, is my best video. But, you know, you learn from that. Okay, people like the hat reviews. Where did I find this hat? I got it off an Instagram ad. Okay, so there's probably some correlation there. If people are getting a lot of ads targeted to them, they then look up on YouTube, is this hat actually good? And so you kind of learn from those experiences, right?
But there's a bunch of things like hotels down here, or any place that I might go in the future, that I can use to, you know, create another hotel review. Marriott's a good example of that. Or like races. So like someone who's actively searching for different races, they're going to search for, a race you've been to, a race I've been to, and that's going to come up in that research. So I've actually been using that quite a bit, writing that stuff down, footnotes.
That's awesome.
All that morning work, before the procrastination sets in.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And something I'd be really curious about for you on kind of a different note, but this does relate to what we're talking about here. With you creating content as well as your fitness journey, what would you say 5 years from now? And listen, I know that in life it's hard to predict and plan your full future because the world's always changing. But like, what are some big goals that ideally you would like to see yourself
I would like to get the channel and the page to a place where I have a professional editor for the videos and the articles. I would like to get possibly people contributing to the page. If anyone watching this wants to contribute, they're welcome to go to the website, go to the contact form.
What's the exact link to the website?
JmurrayAthletics.com. JmurrayAthletics.com. Don't check.
I'll post it in the description as well, so you guys can check it out.
I want to get it to a place where it's an actual media company where we're actually sharing, real valuable news and content around sports. I guess that's really the vision. Is I want it to be an actual brand that people go to, like ESPN, for news on sports, and maybe focused on combat sports, but I would like to also focus on the running and more obscure sports and stuff too. Maybe we could even cover lightsaber dueling. Have you guys ever seen that? I saw that on ESPN. What was it? They have some obscure channel of ESPN, and I saw that and I was watching it at work, and I was like, I'd do that. Definitely do that.
Don't they have they have lightsabers now that are actually could be deadly, right?
Yeah. So
that's scary.
And what's wild is, in Star Wars lore, the original lightsabers were hooked up via a cord and a battery pack, right? So you would have this battery pack on your side, and the cord would come to the lightsaber, and that's what would power it. And if you watch that one video with that super nerd, he has a channel here on YouTube. I can't remember his name, but he made a real lightsaber. It was freaking lore friendly because it was the way it was hooked up and built. It was like the old lightsabers from Star Wars. It's the same exact thing. So technically, by all technical means, he built a legitimate Star Wars lightsaber.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He was like, well, technically it's not a real lightsaber because it's hooked up. I'm watching. Dude, you don't even know what you have.
That's wild.
That was the nerd in me just flying off the handle.
The innovations of technology that are happening right now in our life, they're pretty wild.
It's wild, man. It's wild. We're going to have real Mandalorian armor someday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, just flying around on jetpacks. You got the little scanners in your helmet.
We'll see what happens. Awesome. Well, John, this has been great. Any final thoughts you want to bring up? Anything you want to tell the audience of the Run Breiter Podcast?
Sure. Anything you guys want to do in life, get up and go do it. Because at the end of the day, life is fleeting, and if you don't get up and you don't act now, you don't know when the next opportunity is going to come, and it may fly past you, and just don't let that happen. I know you've learned that lesson, I've learned that lesson, and I think that's one of the best things we can impart on people is go live your dream, figure out what you're passionate about, and go chase after it.
I love that. Really great advice. I think this whole episode we really talked about a lot of different things, but what I like to say always is if that makes that statement or anything else we talked about makes an impact on one person, we're doing the right thing, right?
For sure.
And if we're inspiring people to then help other people in turn, then it just trickles from there, and more people are inspired. And this stuff, it marinates, right? It gets better over time, it ages, and so yeah.
And you know what? When you start something, man, you're never going to be the best.
Yeah.
And my goal in life is I don't want to be a champion in fighting, and I don't want to be the best YouTuber. I don't want to be Mr. Beast. I just want to be John, and I just want to do the things I love and go out and see the world and meet some awesome people like yourself.
For sure.
And I think whatever it is your viewers want to do, whatever it is, the only thing stopping them is their mindset.
For sure. Love that. Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining another episode of the Run Breiter Podcast. As always, don't forget to run brighter, and we'll be back with another episode here real soon. Thanks.